Welcome back to the deep dive. And, if your last week has been anything like ours, it's just this constant treadmill of to-do lists, emails, and that low-grade hum of anxiety that just seemed to be the soundtrack of modern life.
That mental noise.
Yeah.
It's incredibly costly. And today, we're not just, philosophizing about peace. We're providing a really structured five-stage journey.
Yeah.
It's the genuine shortcut to mindfulness.
And our mission here is to take these sources, which lay this whole process out with almost script-like clarity, and just unpack it for you. This isn't about joining some complicated spiritual practice or sitting cross-legged for hours.
Right.
It's about five really accessible steps. They're designed to build a mental space where that background anxiety it can't grab hold.
It's so practical. We're giving your brain a roadmap, a clear one.
Yeah.
The structure itself, it gets rid of the biggest barrier people have with mindfulness, that constant question.
Am I doing this right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
With this journey, you always know what stage you're in and what your only job is in that moment.
I love that framing. It takes this vague idea of be present, and it turns it into an actual action plan.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right in. Stage one, this is where we find our anchor.
Stage one is the anchor, and the anchor is always the breath.
Okay, so let's unpack the setup. Because posture matters, but the sources are really clear. It's comfort over being rigid, right?
Right, you're sitting in a chair, on the floor, whatever works, but your back is straight, but relaxed. The goal is alertness, not tension.
And your hands are just resting, palms up or down,
Yeah.
and your eyes are either gently closed or you have a sort of soft downward gaze.
And the very first step is this intentional release. Before you even try to focus, the guidance is to take 3 big, slow breaths. And you're specifically told to sigh out the tension of the whole day.
That sigh is so important, isn't it? It's like a physical signal to your nervous system that it's okay to let go of that fight or flight energy you've been carrying.
Exactly. And after those 3 sighs, you let the breath go completely natural. You're not trying to control it, not its speed, not its depth. It just breathes itself.
Okay. And that natural breath becomes your entire world for this first stage.
Precisely. And you pick one spot. This is crucial. Either the feeling of cool air in your nostrils, or maybe the gentle rise and fall of your belly. That specific spot is your anchor, and your only job is to notice the sensation of the breath right there.
Okay, but can I just jump in here?
Yeah.
Because this is the exact spot where I think everyone, myself included, just hits a wall.
Oh, absolutely. Tell me.
The moment I try to focus on my natural breath, it's like I suddenly forget how to do it.
Yeah.
I start controlling it, deepening it. I lose the natural part completely.
Yes, that is the most common mental hijack. The moment you bring awareness to something, the ego wants to jump in and, improve it. But the whole point of the anchor is to observe what is, not what should be.
So it's the move.
The instruction is just to drop the need to control. If you notice you've taken over, you notice that thought, oh, I'm trying to control the breath, and you gently return to just observing the sensation.
Okay, so let's talk about the true superpower of this stage. It's not the breathing itself. It's what happens when the mind runs away.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Your mind is a thought machine. Its job is to think, so it will run away. It's going to start writing an email, planning dinner.
Or remembering something embarrassing you did a decade ago.
Of course, and that is not failure. That is just your mind doing its job.
Right, getting frustrated that you're thinking totally misses the point. So what's the instruction for when your mind wanders off?
The instruction is key. You just gently label it. You might silently say, oops, or thinking, or planning. It's a gentle interrupter. And then, with zero judgment, you guide your attention right back to the anchor, the feeling of the breath at your chosen spot.
So it's not about stopping thoughts. It's about recognizing them and then redirecting your attention. If my mind wanders off 10 times in a minute and I bring it back 10 times, I've actually succeeded 10 times.
Exactly. That gentle, non-judgmental return. That's the real mental bicep curl. It builds the muscle of attention. Every single time you return, you prove to yourself that you have control over where you place your focus, even if your mind is chattering away.
Perfect. So we've locked down that inner stability. Now we move to stage 2. Expanding awareness, tuning into sound. We don't abandon the anchor, but we broaden the focus.
The breath is still there, kind of a soft hum in the background, but now you welcome in the outside world through your ears. And the practice is totally passive. You don't go looking for sounds, you just let them arrive.
So that could be a dog barking, traffic outside, the hum of the fridge.
Or even the subtle sounds inside your own body, like your heartbeat.
What I find fascinating here, and this is so important for anyone listening, is the key trick.
Yeah.
You were strictly instructed not to label or tell a story about the sound.
This is where we start training the mind in non-reactivity. If you hear a phone ring, you're not supposed to think, oh, that's my phone, I wonder who's calling. You just hear it as pure sound waves, a certain frequency, a duration, a volume.
Right, but hang on. That feels almost impossible. My brain hears a phone, it knows it's a phone. How do you just turn that off without fighting it?
Well, that's the thing. You don't turn it off. It's not about stopping the identification. It's about not following the story that comes right after. The source uses this beautiful analogy.
Waves on the beach.
Exactly. It's like watching waves break on the beach. You just observe them arriving, cresting, and dissolving. You don't jump in the water and start swimming with the wave, trying to figure out where it came from. You just let the sound arrive and disappear naturally.
Okay, so we've stabilized our internal world with the breath, and we've gently observed the external world with sound. Now we shift our awareness right back inside our own skin for stage 3. Grounding in the body.
This is the body scan portion, but it's not one of those long, formal ones. This is quick, it's intentional, and it's all about sensation. You start at your feet, move slowly up, and just do a kind of internal check-in.
Noticing pressure where you're sitting, warmth, tingling, or tension. And the sources specifically mention the shoulders and neck, which is where most of us unconsciously hold our stress.
And when you find those areas of tension, you encounter this crucial idea of radical acceptance.
Okay, let's unpack that. Radical acceptance.
It's the game changer here. If you find a knot in your shoulder, the instruction is not to try and fix it. Don't stretch it, and definitely don't mentally push it away. Trying to force a change just adds more tension.
I can get that for, a stiff neck. But what about genuine chronic discomfort? Does the source material suggest you just breathe into something that actually hurts? That sounds incredibly difficult.
That's a great question, and it's important to distinguish, right? We're not talking about sudden acute pain that needs a doctor, but for that persistent chronic tension or discomfort, yes. The thing is, discomfort triggers our fight or flight response, which tightens the muscles even more.
So breathing into it is about dampening the anxiety around the feeling.
Precisely. You send your gentle attention there. You literally breathe right into the discomfort, and you give it space. You can even silently say, hello, discomfort, I see you, and just remind yourself that it's a temporary shifting sensation. The breath helps your nervous system see it as a sensation, not a threat.
It's fascinating because most of us only pay attention to our body when it's screaming at us. This practice is about just gentle, curious attention to any feeling, good or bad.
It resets your baseline. You move from being reactive to physical feelings to realizing that sensations are just like the sounds in stage 2. They arrive, they exist for a bit, and then they pass.
That sets us up perfectly for the next section, which is, it's probably the deepest part of this whole thing. Stage 4, observing the mind. We've dealt with the body, the outside world. Now we face the traffic of our own thoughts.
This is where we finally move awareness to the space between our ears. And we use this really powerful tool, the bridge analogy.
Let's really lay this one out because this analogy is key for anyone struggling with anxiety.
So you're instructed to imagine yourself stepping onto a bridge, and this bridge overlooks a massive, busy highway. All the thoughts, the worries, the ideas, the memories, that song stuck in your head, they are the traffic moving below you.
And you are the observer on the bridge.
You are the observer. And the game-changing insight is realizing that you are not driving any of those cars.
That's the critical distinction, isn't it? The thing that can free you from an overwhelming thought spiral. You are not your thoughts. You are the one watching the thoughts.
That little bit of distance is everything. Most of us identify so closely with our thoughts. If we have a worried thought, we are worried. This teaches you that you are the conscious space that houses the thought, not the thought itself.
But that traffic is moving fast.
Yeah.
How do you stop a thought from, grabbing you and pulling you down onto the highway? Say a big financial panic thought just roars by.
You don't fight it. You don't argue with it. That just adds more traffic. The solution is the same gentle technique from stage 1. You just label it. You identify the type of vehicle.
So instead of getting lost in the content, oh my God, I don't have enough money for that bill,
Right.
I just observe the category, a worry about money, or a memory.
Exactly. Or even simpler, planning, judging, self-critique. That simple, silent label. It interrupts the pattern of reaction. It proves in that instant that you have the power to observe the noise rather than being forced to drive in the traffic. It creates that vital separation.
And that separation is really the foundation of mental peace, isn't it? Once you see you can watch the thoughts without becoming them, they start to lose their power.
And that power, that agency, is what we carry forward into our final stage. Moving into integration and application, we bring all four of those previous stages, breath, sound, body, and thought observation, back together.
And this is an intentional, gentle return to the world. It starts with a kind of soft reset, taking 3 more of those big, slow breaths to reestablish the anchor.
Mm-hmm. Then you slowly wiggle your fingers and toes, you notice the feeling of the chair, you listen to the sounds in the room again, and then you gently open your eyes. It's a transition designed to stop you from jumping from deep stillness straight back into chaos.
But the sources are so clear about this. The real secret isn't what happens on the cushion. It's about taking this feeling of stillness, this awareness of being the watcher, with you into daily life.
Yes, if you just leave the piece behind when you stand up, you haven't really completed stage 5. The sources talk about using simple, everyday things as anchors. The feeling of the steering wheel in your hands, the actual taste of your morning coffee, the sensation of your feet on the pavement as you walk.
So we're talking about microdoses of mindfulness, little moments that interrupt the autopilot and remind you of the watcher on the bridge.
Yes. And these microdoses, they reinforce the neural pathways you just built. They prove that you can be fully engaged in life working, talking, driving, and at the same time, maintain this quiet, observing presence in the background.
So let's bring it home. If a listener is suddenly rushing, feeling that familiar knot of anxiety building up, what is the ultimate application of all this?
The guidance is beautifully simple. You just need to remember that feeling of stillness you cultivated. You know it's accessible. And take one mindful breath. That single breath, focused on your anchor, is enough to tap back into the peace you've already built.
The peace isn't something you have to go find. It's a state you just need the steps to access.
It's already there.
That's such a powerful idea. Going from focusing on one tiny spot all the way to watching the entire traffic of your mind, and then realizing you can carry that stillness with you. It totally reframes anxiety as something you can observe, not something that controls you.
Indeed. And it really brings home the main takeaway for you, the listener. You already have this capacity for peace. You just needed this 5-stage structured way to access it and reinforce it.
So as you head into your day, let's just go back to that profound power from stage 4, the ability to observe, not react. If your goal is to watch the thoughts go by without jumping in and driving, what situation in your day, a difficult email, a delayed train, a disagreement you're expecting, how could that be profoundly changed if you just labeled the thought a worry or a frustration rather than letting it take the emotional wheel? Just think about the space you can create just by naming the vehicle.